copywritten production of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated and is intended for the sole purpose of informing our Recreation Center members. Any duplication, copying, transmission, broadcast, or use, including electronic and social media, is strictly prohibited without the prior written consent from the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated. Thank you for watching.
Good morning. I call this Board of Directors meeting to order and ask that you rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to our June board meeting. I'm Kat Fimmel, President of the 2024 RCSC Board of Directors. This meeting is audio and video recorded by the RCSC and available to our members. Please be advised that there is no recording of this meeting by any individual. Please put your phones or your electronic devices into the silent mode. I'll try to remember at the end of the meeting to remind you to turn them back on. Our timekeeper for today will be Director Nedesheim. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes out of courtesy to all the members who wish to speak today. I'll start with introduction of management staff. We have Matthew Delazansky, the General Manager.
Morning.
Kevin McCurdy, the Support and Finance Senior Leader.
Good morning.
Mike Dearmeyer, the Non-Golf Senior Leader.
Good morning.
Debbie Giles, the Assistant to General Manager. Good morning. And Marcia Johnson, the Board Coordinator.
Good morning.
We also recognize the audiovisual engineers, Alan Kleinhans, Carla Young, Doreen Rafferty, and Miguel Jackson. We also thank the Sundial staff for putting this room together for us. I want to take a moment to welcome all RCSC members who are here at the meeting for the first time. Do we have any first-time attendees today? No. Okay. The first item of business is the roll call vote of the voting members for quorum confirmation. Treasurer Borski, please take the roll call vote.
President Fimmel.
Good morning.
Vice President McAdam. Director Foster.
Good morning.
Secretary Rickmeyer.
Morning, everybody.
Director Ruff.
Good morning.
Director Nedesheim. Good morning. Director Keiss.
Good morning.
Treasurer Borski, I'm here. Director Collins. Madam President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. First on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Are there any questions or comments on the agenda? Hearing and seeing none, the agenda is approved. Approval of the minutes. These would be the minutes of the May 30, 2024 meeting, and they have been posted. Are there any corrections, additions, others to the minutes of the May 30th meeting? Hearing and seeing none, the minutes are approved. Next is the Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report as of June 27, 2024. The balance of unrestricted funds as of May 31, 2024 was $18.6 million, which includes a $2.5 million cash reserve. Restricted funds include the Preservation and Improvement Fund, PIF, and the Capital Reserve Fund. As of May 31st, PIF had a balance of $34.5 million, and the Capital Reserve Fund had a balance of $5.7 million. Capital Improvement Funds, CIF, received to date totaled $674,000. The carry-forward balance as of May 31, 2024 was $6.9 million. This balance decreased from the 2023 year-end balance of $10.4 million due to the allocation of $6.5 million in carry-forward funds towards the 2024 budgeted capital projects. The corporation operated within its budget year in 2024. Respectively submitted, Anita Borski, Treasurer.
Are there any questions on the Treasurer's report? There being no questions on the Treasurer's report, it will be filed for audit. Next is the management report. Are there any questions or comments on the management report? Director Foster.
Page, I think it's 10 and 11. There is a duplication, I think, of year-to-date golf revenue. So one of those charts is old and one of those charts is appropriate. I'm assuming the one with the larger revenue, since it's year-to-date, is the correct one. Can we verify that?
I would say that you're correct, but I'll have to ask Brian to make sure that it's true. We just probably had an old chart left in there.
Are there any, Treasurer Borski?
Under safety and compliance on page 3, I've had some people, clubs, ask me if our safety department provides training on AEDs for clubs.
We had a open enrollment for safety training, and we'll do that again. So a lot of people from the clubs came to that training. There were several in the class that I took, and we will be providing that training again. So it's not per club, it's open to all of the clubs and all of the employees, and to the board for that matter.
Okay, I think the two that I talked to were looking for somebody to come to their club, so all of their members could be involved.
It's probably not the best place for the training at their club. We do it where they can have the, the proper equipment and the right tables and things. So
Okay.
it was at Fairway, so it's not too onerous to get to.
Okay, thank you.
Director Nettesheim.
Matthew, looking at the information technology, I've been following it for the last few months, and I see that we're doing really well with closing tickets. My question is, do you happen to know if we're starting to do trending around our tickets and our incidents to see where we might be able to improve processes or any kind of software integrations, things like that, to decrease the number of incidents?
The trending is done and looked at internally. As you know, we will have a new IT manager soon, but we'll make sure we include that in future reports.
All right, thank you.
Any additional? Okay. There being the management report is accepted. Are there any committee reports? Director Keiss.
This isn't specifically a committee report, but I wanted to give an update on where we are with Mountain View. When the RCSC board presented you with the Mountain View elements in February, we said we'd keep you informed of the progress. Today we're providing information on why we selected Triarch Architecture and Design as the design team and have started to move forward with them on this project. Triarch is based in Phoenix, has been in business for 17 years, is a minority-owned firm. Their prior projects include the R.H. Johnson Recreation Center in Sun City West, the Herberger Theater renovation, and the Goodyear Recreation Campus. Their proposal provided 4 possible renovation concepts that included renovating the existing auditorium into a performing arts center, or PAC, building a new PAC at Mountain View, or building an off-site PAC. They were hypothetical only to show us some possibilities. Their proposal was the most thorough and included extensive information on all their consultants. They also provided significant specialized services that other proposals didn't as part of their costs, like a geotechnical engineering consultant, an aquatic design consultant, and a security consultant. We were very impressed with their creativity, flexibility, and out-of-the-box thinking. They also paid close attention to the element's details. Paying attention to detail and listening to what Sun City needs for this project are essential skills to get the renovated rec center that you deserve and have been waiting so long for. We're very excited to be partners with Triarc on this project and have been moving forward. We will continue to keep you informed as the renovation progresses. But please keep in mind that the design and construction of a project of this magnitude are going to take a long time to complete to get a renovated Mountain View that we can all be proud of. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? We will move on to the Recreation Center update report. General Manager DeLazansky.
Greetings, and thank you all that are here. And a big howdy folks to everyone that's out there that will watch this on the internet or via our website or perhaps even on a podcast. So I guess I have a question, is it hot enough for you yet? Hopefully we won't be seeing the mid-120s that we saw last summer, this summer. So I do have a few items you might find of interest, and kind of going off Director Keis's, Mike Whiprud, who is on vacation today, our facilities senior leader, and I met with Triarc last week at their offices in Phoenix. We discussed the first step, which is the pre-design and condition assessment. So this is exciting to us. You know, we've been talking about it. We're finally getting rolling on the Mountain View project. So we should have a contract in place next month for this first portion of the work. A second, I wanted to give an update on what I call the Deadwood Initiative. It's wrapping up with just a couple of centers left to go. And most of the golf courses are done, and there's a noticeable difference to our landscape. The dead trees and cactus are gone, and all the palms are cleaned from the ground up. This work was long overdue. You might call it deferred maintenance. Some of the trees had been dead for over 5 years. This also dramatically cuts down on the cleanup after the winds and the storms and the monsoons. So thanks to all the coordination efforts to get this done before the monsoons really get rolling, at least we hope so for monsoons this year, I say bring on the rain. Third, we're really, another big initiative that we're moving forward on is called Integrated Process Excellence. This will revolutionize the RCSC. And I'm not kidding. It's a customer-focused, success-oriented approach to quality management, which is simple and intuitive, rather than the historical kind of stale ISO 9000 methodology that I taught and consulted in for years. We'll be posting a link to the basic IPE explanation video on our website soon. Presentations will begin next month to the leaders and managers and continue throughout the summer. The goal will be to refine several short presentations of documented processes for the board to review some of the IPE results in September. So I've been talking about documented processes since October. We have them now. We're starting to work our way through all of them that it'll take to really have a well-run machine here. So next, the hot months are also big project months. There's a lot of repaving and sealing of parking lots, and there's indoor work that's planned, like redoing under the stage right here in Sundial. This is like the historically low time to get in here. This place, as you know, is hopping. There was another event last night, very well attended, doing the events through the summer now, so we have a short window to get in here and fix the issues underneath here. Also, the Sundial pools and spas across the way, they've been shut down. They'll be down for 3 weeks to change out all the water, deep clean the pools, and clean all the windows and ducts. It's really been years since this work was last done. Also, we just selected a contractor and approved the project to get the fairway pools and decks replaced, get that work going as soon as possible. Once we firm up the schedule, we'll be communicating the closure dates for Fairway Pool. But as those of you that go there know, it's in desperate need of that. So we've reworked the organizational structure. We've completed the first ever draft of the 5-year budget and the 10-year PIF forecast. We've started our process development and documentation with IPE, and I'm, again, excited to say we're kicking off several new safety initiatives for the second half of 2024. Stephanie Haholi and her team are launching the RCSC Safety Committee next month. This is another, great and important development. It's also going to include the rollout of 2 safety programs, Safety Plus and Stop for Safety. Safety Plus is focused on training, tracking, and testing based on the needs of specific jobs. Stop for Safety is focused on awareness, behavior modification, and shifting the culture to make safety a top priority. And the Stop and Stop for Safety stands for Safety Training Observation Program. It's where, as soon as you start looking around, you have safety on your mind. You look for things that could possibly hurt someone or something. Safety is really a fundamental element of any endeavor. We have to be focused on keeping our members, our staff, our community, and our assets safe. And as they say, safety is no accident. It takes intentionality and action, but it is well worth it. So thanks to Stephanie and her team and all those on the safety committee. I look forward to meeting with them soon. So in the spirit of thanking people, I also want to thank the senior leaders that are here and the 2 that are on vacation, and all the other leaders and managers and staff here at the RCSC for their dedication and enthusiasm, making RCSC look better and run better. I ask a lot of people. Everyone here, I've challenged them with their thinking, wanting to see new solutions, pushing for improvement, and they deliver great new ideas that we listen to and implement. Change is not easy, but often necessary. So I say thank you to everyone here, the leaders and all the staff of RCSC. It is a tireless effort to keep this place running and improving. So let's see what's next. I want to mention the ongoing discussions with the Maricopa County Library District about the library lease. The RCSC has met twice in person with the MCLD, and we've made good progress. We provided them with a draft lease agreement, and we're waiting for them to respond with some revised language on a couple of items. In addition, MCLD had several items they thought the Friends of the Sun City Libraries might be able to help with financially. Now, my understanding is that MCLD met with the Friends earlier this month, but so far no resolution has been reached. So we'll be monitoring this closely, and I'll keep you posted. Finally, I want to say thanks to 2 valuable members of our team that are leaving us this month. Without their help over the past few years, we would not be in a position to accelerate many of the changes that are already taking place. Randy Bird, our IT manager, has created what I call a new heart and backbone for our system. And Angie Bird, who has hired and trained many of our staff, was instrumental in the transition to center-based leadership. Thank you both for your drive and enthusiasm to make RCSC a better place. You will be missed, and good luck on your continuing journey and future plans. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any announcements? All right, next up is unfinished business. Director Ruff.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to move to postpone the Board Policy 21. There are some interplay with other parts of the bylaws and rules, and we need to make sure they're all put together at the same time.
Okay.
We need to vote on that.
All right.
Second?
I need a second. Thank you very much. Okay, is there any discussion? Okay.
Only that I agree, we've got some loose ends to try and tie down there.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Ms. Johnson, would you please read the names of any of the members who signed up to speak on this issue?
Well, for postponing it, we usually don't have anybody speak.
I thought you had signatures there. No? None?
I had one, if you want to let Dave speak, but normally if we postpone it, we take a vote.
Okay.
And then we don't
Let's take a vote.
Okay.
Treasurer Borski, could you assist us with the vote?
Treasurer Borski, yes. Director Kais,
Yes.
Director Collins,
Yes.
Vice President McAdam, Director Ruff,
Yes.
Director Foster,
Yes.
Director Nettesheim,
Yes.
President Filmo,
Yes.
Connie Rickmeyer.
Yes.
The vote is 8-0.
8-0, and the postponement will continue. Director Ruff.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to postpone the board policy number 3 as well.
Is there any discussion?
Need a second?
No discussion? Yes, there is discussion.
No, I think we need to second the motion, don't we?
We do, yes.
You need a second. Do you second, sir?
She does.
You
I
second.
did. I did.
Thank you very much. All right, any discussion? No discussion? Treasurer Borski, please take the vote.
Vice President McAdam, Treasurer Borski, yes. Director Nettesheim,
Yes.
Director Kais,
Yes.
Director Collins,
Yes.
Director Foster,
Yes.
Director Ruff,
Yes.
President Filmo,
Yes.
Director Rickmeyer.
Yes.
The vote is 8-0.
The vote of 8-0, the motion continues to be postponed. Thank you. Are there any committee recommendations? I see none. Okay. Next up are second readings. Second readings do not require a second. Director Foster.
Thank you, President Fimmel. For our second reading relates to the insurance for RCSC. I move based on the Insurance Committee and RCSC's insurance broker's recommendations to approve the 2024-2025 insurance renewal proposal for the Recreation Centers of Sun City, Inc. The renewal proposal includes the same insurance coverages, carriers, and terms conditions per RCSC's expiring coverage, with the exception of the excess liability coverage. $30 million in excess liability coverage was provided in 2023-2024 by Philadelphia Insurance at $10 million, and federal insurance the remaining $20 million. In 2024-2025, this same $30 million of coverage will be split among Philadelphia Insurance, $5 million, Sampo for $5 million, Chubb for $10 million, and Great American Insurance for $10 million. The overall premium increase for all coverage during 2024-2025 will be $303,148, or 26.6%. Flood coverage is currently being quoted by RCSC's insurance broker, and RCSC will bind this coverage by the end of June 2024.
As maker of the motion, did you want to speak to it?
Yes. Let me just reiterate a couple things we said at the first reading. Premiums have been going up in this industry, as we all experience, whether we're talking about homes or businesses. We've had numerous issues with other when we've tried to go out to other insurance companies and request coverage. Largely, unfortunately, due to our claims history, we've been rejected by many of these companies. We were able to push back considerable amounts on these premiums, which were initially quoted to us at around a 40% increase, which we then got back down to 26%, and we were also able to get the insurance broker to roll back their commissions a fair amount. So what are we going to do going forward here in order to try to mitigate this in the future? General Manager D. Lazansky, in his comments, touched on part of that strategy, and that's safety. The safety culture here needs to improve. whether that's members or workers or guests, whatever, we need to be thinking safety first. And so we're going to work hard on that. We're going to work hard over the summer on the possibility of increasing deductibles, which means we're essentially self-insuring more. And we may spend some time examining the possibility of a captive insurance company, of which there are many positives. There are also many negatives, but we will spend some time working through that to see whether or not that's a possibility for RCSC. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, please read the names of the members who have signed up to speak on this motion.
Madam President, no one signed up to speak on this motion.
Thank you. Is there any discussion by the directors? No discussion. Treasurer Borski, will you please take the roll call vote?
Director Collins.
Yes.
Director Foster.
Yes?
Director Nettesheim.
Yes.
Vice President McAdam. Director Ruff.
Yes.
Treasurer Borski votes yes. Director Keiss.
Yes.
President Fimmel.
Yes.
Director Rickmeyer.
Yes.
The vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8-0, this motion passes its second reading and is adopted. Director Foster.
The second motion here related also to insurance coverage is I move based on the Insurance Committee and RCSC's insurance broker's recommendation that RCSC decline terrorism risk insurance. The terrorism-related coverage is optional for commercial property and casualty coverages except workman's compensation. The Terrorism Risk Insurance Act was initially created by the federal government after 9/11/2001 attack on American soil. The act allows the federal government to share monetary losses with insurers on commercial property and casualty losses due to a terrorist attack. For the Terrorism Risk Insurance Act coverage to apply, a terrorist event would have to be declared by the Secretary of State, which has not happened in the United States since this act was passed by Congress in 2002. RCSC has rejected terrorism risk insurance on applicable coverages during the past several years.
Did you wish to make comment about this motion, sir?
Well, I think that it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a very unlikely event, and not to be facetious, but Sun City is unlikely to be a terrorist target. And we have passed on this kind of coverage in the past several years, so I think that it would be appropriate to continue to do that.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, please read the names of the members who signed up to speak on this motion.
Madam President, no one signed up to speak on this motion.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the director, Director Ruff?
I was on the insurance committee last year, and we did the same thing then for the same reasons. I think it's the prudent thing to do.
Thank you. Treasurer Borski, please take the roll call vote.
Director Collins.
Yes.
Director Foster.
Yes.
Director Nettesheim.
Yes.
Vice President McAdam. Director Ruff.
Yes.
Treasurer Borski votes yes. Director Keiss.
Yes.
President Fimmel.
Yes.
Director Rickmeyer.
Yes.
The vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8-0, the motion passes its second reading and is adopted. Director Keiss.
I move to approve $6 million for the Quail Run Golf Course renovation project. The scope of work includes money previously approved for project development, green renovation to USGA guidelines, complete irrigation replacement to include a new pumping station, conversion of tees and fairways to Tif-Tuff Bermuda grass, renovation of the golf course lake to provide a lining and increase water storage, consulting construction oversight and a contingency, Additionally, the Quail Run audio system and patio will receive upgrades that are on the Golf Advisory Committee's project priority list. And the numbers for each of the parts are in your information.
Thank you. As maker of the motion, would you like to speak to it first?
Yes, I would. If you've been to the Quail Run golf course, Quail Run is the equivalent of Mountain View for golf courses. It hasn't been touched for a long time. As far as, this is on our water reduction list, and as far as water reduction goes, it's not going to move the needle much because it's a 9-hole course, it's small, there's a lot of par threes, and so it's not going to help a lot in our water reduction. However, the irrigation system is failing. It hasn't been repaired for years. There are pools all over the place. It's leaking into the street, degrading the walls. Aside from the new pumping station, the pond that is used for irrigation is leaking, and it has to be relined and fixed just like we did for Viewpoint Lake. Otherwise, it's going to continue to get worse, and we're going to waste more water. To replace the irrigation system, you've got to tear up the whole course. Greens, fairways, roughs, the whole thing. While you're there, you might as well complete the renovation and do the right thing and put in the TIF-Tuff turf that we found is helpful, so that we don't have to go back and do that all over again sometime in the future. And so that's why we're doing the whole thing now, because if you're going to tear it up, you might as well complete the project and do it right.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, please read the names of the members who signed up to speak on this motion.
Russ Tolman.
Good morning. 1983. I have an objection to this at this time, and let me explain why. We're under ADWR Plan 5, but Plan 5 has been questioned by everyone, not just in Sun City, for our golf leadership, but also other courses in the area. And because of Plan 5's in question, we have not been answered on that, which we've all agreed, which came from Kevin, told us this, and so did Brian from golf. So what I'm saying is, without answers to why we've asked for some adjustment to where we are in our AWR planning, I think we're actually aiming for a target that we really don't even know what it is. And on the heels of that, there's going to be a Plan 6. We don't know when Plan 6 is going to come, but we know there's going to be something different and changes. So I have some different ideas. Yes, we have the warning, and we understand about the leaking on the golf course. But my thoughts is, I'd like to do something what the members have already said, and it showed up in our survey. They're looking for a walking path. Now, we've analyzed this once before and thought about Quail Run as a place. Since we got to do a total redo, which you said too, Mr. Keiss, you said we need to tear the place up. We really do. But we could put a walking path around it, and I'm suggesting reduce the acreage for the golf to only 3 holes for each hole, a par 3 each, and it would be 9, but it would be 3 par 3, so it would be short, 180, 170 yards shorter, a lot of putting greens, and make a natural parkway out of the area. So we have the people that can use it, not just for golf, but it can be used for the walking paths that people have asked about before. And that's what I'm thinking, giving you an alternative. And I suggest that we put Quail Run to be reviewed in the business case format that we've talked about in long-range planning. And that's a justification process for the process of where we pick and choose our investments that are done with PIF money. So my idea is we need to really look at this and what alternatives we want to do. And I think the business case analysis is set up for that, and it proves to other people what are the uses that we're going to do other than repair and replace the existing golf course for what it is today. That's my thoughts.
Susan Bjork.
Hello, Board. 112650, Susan Bjork. Thank you, Director Keiss, for bringing up what I asked you to bring up. It's great. I almost was able to sit down, but I just have a couple things to add, of course. So one of the things I'd like to point out is obviously the sprinkler or the irrigation system needs to be replaced based on what has been said. And it's unfortunate that it was neglected so long that now turns into PIF money. But what hasn't been revealed is that the $6 million is 21% of the ADWR budget. That's a lot of money taken up to meet the ADWR management schedules, number 5. The other thing I'd like to point out is, as Director Kai said, it's not going to go a long way, but it's kind of important to reduce the water there, even if the water reduction is not going to be that great, because one of the things that was brought up last time by Director Duthu was that the negotiations actually brought the square footage down from 4,900 to 4,500 square feet. And it was implied that that was a done deal. It is not a done deal. They have not responded in 18 months. Nobody has gone back to try and see, is there anything we can do to help in the decision-making here? I mean, it's government, so likelihood is probably nil, but still there's got to be some attempt. So the bottom line is that this $6 million is a result of neglected maintenance. Thank you, Matthew, for pushing forward on the maintenance, with the deferred maintenance. Hopefully you'll show us a picture of how much of the maintenance that's going to be done by 2025 was the neglected part, because there obviously is some maintenance that was neglected, and what that was, I think a lot of us want to know. But the bottom line is it's a lot of money to be spending on a 9-hole golf course, and I wish the irrigation system alone would have been broken out, because from what I understand, this is more of a bat-around type golf course. I don't know. I can't speak to it because I've never been on the golf course, so there's an issue there. But it could be kept as a bat-around golf course and just replacing the irrigation system, but we don't know what that cost is of the $4 million, okay? So that's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, everyone who signed up to speak has spoken.
Thank you. Director Kais.
Couple of things. There is already a walking path at Quail Run. We don't have to do anything about it. There's one that goes 360 degrees around the whole course, so that's already established. What we need to do as a process would be, and we've talked about this with you're Matthew, aren't you? We've talked about this with Matthew, that in certain periods of time, the course just needs to be shut down so there aren't golfers on it, and then people can walk on it. And I think that's a very viable thing. So we don't have to create a walking path because there's already one that runs through the course. I'm a huge fan of the business case form that the LRP is working on. What I don't like to do is go back into things that are already in process, that are on the PIF forecast. Because if you're going to open up pushing this project back to go through the business case form, you might as well do that for all the things, which means we're going to delay Mountain View now, because that's in the same sort of thing. It's a project that is in process right now, and I don't want to disturb the timelines on it because too many things are set in motion to not do that. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I would also like to make just a couple of comments about the 5th management plan, the possibility for the 6th management plan. We were in the 4th management plan for a very long time. These plans don't get handled quickly, so it'll probably be quite some time before we get to the 6th management plan. We're now saying that it's not a whole lot of water. I don't think anybody would want us to declare that we have water to waste, because we don't. I think that this project is very timely. And I point out one other thing, that it would be nice to change some of our greenery. You're quite right, Russ, that the survey did say that people wanted more walking green and more green space. But the Quail Run and all of our golf courses are deeded and have been deeded for decades now. as golf courses. And we are not situated at this moment to try to change that. We made an effort to change that last year, and we were not successful. So we are back into a process where we are continuing our golf deeds as they were originally set forth. I just thought I would bring that information to light. Is there more discussion by the directors?
President Fimmel?
Yeah, Director Foster.
Well, I would just like, I am sympathetic to the comments we just heard. I can understand where that was coming from, and certainly have responded to other members who have sent me emails about this same topic. I guess my initial comment is kind of echoing what Director Kais said, but when we went out on that golf course to do the USGA review of that particular course, we went to all the golf courses that particular day, but when we were out there on that quail run, and I don't want to exaggerate here, but that irrigation system was in severe disrepair. There were puddles of water on every hole where water was leaking from the irrigation system. On many holes, in particular the second hole, which is a longer par 5, there was water standing in about 5 different places. And I'm not just a little puddle, but substantial puddles. So I would question, frankly, a little bit that we're not going to save that much water. Well, I think there's probably a fair amount of water that's going to be saved there. And that pond, which is, I think, on the 7th hole, it really needs a lot of work. So I get and I understand the concern about all the work that we've done in long-range planning for this budget case scenario, because we want severely to get away from the knee-jerk kind of decisions about when we're going to spend money, or the squeaky wheel kind of decisions of who gets money, and make things go through a process. But that hasn't been adopted. We're going to talk about it a little later today, but it's not in effect yet. When it is in effect, then that's the line in the sand as far as I'm concerned, and everything goes through that process at that point. As Director Kais was alluding, at this point in time, to suddenly go, oh, well, we're going to get to this, so everything should go through that, I mean, that just delays a lot of good things that need to get done. So I would respectfully submit that this is a project that needs to move forward. Unfortunately, that course, that piece of property, if it's going to be used for a golf course or a walking path or whatever, needs some attention, and I think we need to do that now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Thank you. One thing that everyone should bear in mind, we are already benefiting with ADWR on the restrictions. They've given us a break already because we told them what we're going to do. So as long as we stick to the program that we told them we were going to do, we'll stay in the good graces, and we're benefiting already from it. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Ruff.
I'll keep this brief. I just want to support everything Tom said. I agree with him.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, Treasurer Borski, please take the roll call vote.
Director Collins.
Yes.
Director Foster.
Yes.
Director Nittesheim.
Yes.
Vice President McAdam. Director Ruff.
Yes.
Treasurer Borski votes yes. Director Kais.
Yes.
President Fimmel.
Yes.
Secretary Rickmeyer.
Yes.
The vote is 8 yes, 0 no.
With a vote of 8-0, the motion passes its second reading and is adopted. Next up is new business. Director Collins.
Madam President, seeing how I'm not there, I would ask that Director Borski take over for me on the reading and on this motion.
Treasurer Borski.
I move to approve $4,000 to be paid to the Sun City Posse for their continued assistance with event parking and other services in 2025.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there a second? I guess I will turn to you, Treasurer Borski, since you read the motion. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
This is something we do every year with the posse. We tend to do it in December because we forget about it. So we're being proactive and actually doing it in June. I think the posse does a lot of services for us, and I think the $4,000 is well-deserved.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, please read the names of the members who signed up to speak on this motion.
Madam President, no one signed up to speak on this motion.
Is there any discussion by the directors?
Yes.
Director Foster.
Do we have an agreement with the posse as to what services they provide?
I don't think that we do. I think they provide those services because we have traditionally asked them to do so.
So we could ask for more?
Well, certainly you could have a conversation with the commander if you think more services need to be provided.
Okay, I would, well, that's not for now, but yes, that's
We
something
can take that
might-
under advisement.
All right.
Madam Chair.
Director Ruff?
Just as an example, when pickleball has a tournament, the posse is there and handles the parking, and there's way more cars than there are parking spots in the lot, and they're really good at it because they've had a lot of practice, and that's just one of the many things that they do. So I think anytime we've asked them for big events like that, they're part and parcel of what gets done. So this is sort of a thank you to them.
Well, okay. Yeah, I do think when services are needed, we do call and ask for them, and traditionally or historically, the posse has provided them.
Yes.
Okay.
One more.
I'm sorry? Director Keiss.
One of the things I'm happy about doing it now is last year, when money was approved to give to the posse, it was done at the last minute. A second reading was not done because it was in December, and the whole thing felt like a rush process, which is not how we want to do business. So I'm really glad we're doing this now instead of late in the year, so it goes through proper channels and gets done correctly. It's a good thing.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Treasurer Borski, if you will take the roll call vote.
Treasurer Borski, I vote yes. Director Keiss.
Yes.
Director Collins.
Yes.
Vice President McAdam. Director Ruff.
Yes.
Director Foster.
Yes.
Director Nettesheim.
Yes.
President Fimmel.
Yes.
Director Rickmeyer.
Yes.
The vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8-0, the motion passes its first reading. Okay. The next motion is by Director Keiss.
I seem to be talking a lot today. I move to amend Board Policy 16 to incorporate a new process to request, review, and approve PIF projects and the use of the SIF fund to fund annual capital expenditures. It will also formalize the use of the reserve study, the 5-year planning team, 5-year budget, and 10-year PIF forecast. And I can read through all of it, but there are lots and lots of changes.
There's a copy on the back table of all the changes, if anybody wanted to see them.
If you want to talk to me about it afterwards, I can do that, but we'd be here for the rest of the day going through the changes.
Okay, is there a second?
I would second the motion.
Second by Director Foster. Okay. Director Keiss, did you have additional comments?
I do. The Long Range Planning Committee, as a team, has been working extremely hard on revising this board policy to finally adopt a process to go through committees to get PIF and SIF funds appropriated in a way that gives a large look at it. Anything that comes from a club has to go through the club organization committee. And they get a look at it. If it's a PIF project that's requested, it has to go to long-range planning. If it's a SIF project, it's got to go to finance and budget. Any new PIF projects have to go through the business case form that Mr. Toman and Ms. Bjork have been talking about, which is a huge step forward in being able to justify, having the submitters justify why this project is important, why should we should be spending money on it, and it makes it so that we get away from what the Director Foster was talking about with the knee-jerk and the squeaky wheel way of doing business that's been prevalent in our processes for so long. I think this is a huge step forward for us to be able to have a lot of people look at it and a lot of levels to go through to make sure that monies are spent correctly and we don't waste funds that are unnecessary.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, please read the names of the members who signed up to speak on this motion.
Madam President, no one signed up to speak on this motion.
Thank you. Is there discussion by the directors? Director Ruff.
I'd like to thank Matthew and his team who participated in this, the Budget and Finance Committee, as well as the Long Range Planning. It's been a huge effort. I only viewed it from the sidelines, and I know a whole lot of people put a whole lot of work into that, and I'm really proud of what you've turned out. Thank you.
Director Kais?
Yeah, I'd like to add something. I think you're exactly right. The work that the 5-year planning team did to get us to a point where we have a PIF 10-year PIF forecast and where we've got a 5-year budget plan has been essential. And them, and especially Director Foster and Mr. McCurdy, have worked long, hard to get that together, and I think we owe them a huge vote of thanks.
Thank you. Director Nettesheim.
So I'd like to extend my thanks as well to the Long Range Planning Committee, the Budget and Finance Committee, and management. They've all worked very closely together. They've got some really good ideas, and the membership has been asking, can we have a plan? This is our plan coming to fruition. And it's membership-driven with management support, which I think is amazing. When you get lots of different people in a room, for them to come to consensus is a wonderful thing to see. So thank you guys for everything that you've done.
Thank you. Director Foster.
Let me just add one other thought here, and thanks to Matthew, because, early in this calendar year, he was saying, we ought to try to do these things, and that got picked up by a lot of folks because it made a lot of sense. So good for you guys that we were able to organize and get all of this together. But kind of going back to what this board has been trying to do in the sense of transparency, and I know that gets a lot of definitions these days, but involving so many committees that are member-driven organizations is going to give the membership opportunities to come to those meetings and look at these projects and participate in that decision-making process. So it's really not only an attempt to formalize that process, but to improve the transparency of the process as well.
Thank you. Director Kais.
I'm going to jump in again. My apologies to you, Matthew. A lot of this started because early on, Matthew decided correctly that we needed a 5-year planning team to get together and start this process. And so a lot of this would not have happened if Matthew hadn't started the ball rolling on this. Matthew works really hard for us, does a lot of great things, and he doesn't often get the credit that he deserves. So we want to thank you.
Thank you. All right, Treasurer Borski, please take the roll call vote.
Okay, Treasurer Borski votes yes. Director Kais.
Yes.
Director Collins.
Yes.
Vice President McAdam. Director Ruff.
Yes.
Director Foster.
Yes.
Director Nettesheim.
Yes.
President Fimmel.
Yes.
Director Rickmeyer.
Yes.
Vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8-0, the motion passes its first reading. And with that, the next exchange meeting will be held here on September 9th at 1 p.m. That's September 9th at 1 p.m. The next meeting of the board, it will be here on September 26th at 9 a.m. And the annual member meeting will be held here on March 11, 2025 at 6 p.m. There being no further business and without objection, this meeting is adjourned. Please remember to turn your electronic devices back on. Thank you.
This is a copyrighted production of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated and is intended for the sole purpose of informing our Recreation Center members. Any duplication, copying, transmission, broadcast, or use, including electronic and social media, is strictly prohibited without the prior written consent from the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated. Thank you for watching.